live. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Take It to the Grave, episode 4. We should probably be on 40, but we're only on 4. Joined, as always, by Bud. What's going on, man?
How's it going, man?
Good.
Getting ready for vacation?
You are?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Jamaica. Going to
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Now, that is a vacation. That is not just going up north to the woods. That is a real
No,
vacation.
all inclusive.
That's the way to do it. I am
It's been a
jealous.
great. It has been a great week. I just have to say, the Nuggets, world champions. Bud's getting ready to go to the beach, man. Just a great start to the summer.
Now,
Is it technically summer yet?
close enough. Feels like summer.
Close enough.
Now,
Yeah,
to
definitely
piggyback
does.
off tonight's topic, maybe you're going to go on a vacation. It's going to be like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. You ever see that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope not.
Yeah. Jack Black.
Definitely hope not.
Jack Black's going to be there in dreads.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe Brandy will be there. Hope she doesn't
That'd be nice.
kill anybody. But
Yeah, Mackay Pfeiffer,
yeah,
yeah. So, as the
definitely
kids,
looking forward to it.
yeah, as the kids say, it's been a minute since we've done this. So
Yeah,
I can't even remember how this goes, but tonight we're going to give our top 10 90s horror movies. And the 90s are an interesting decade because they're kind of lost in the shuffle. We always, for good reason, talk about the
hmm
80s. And then, if you're our age, you really were growing up in the 90s. So, sometimes there's a lot of nostalgia with some of these movies, and there's a lot of horrible fucking horror movies in the
yeah.
90s. But there's a lot of good ones too, a lot of decent ones that probably are overlooked because they're not in the 80s, and then they're not in the torture porn era after that. So it should be an interesting list we have here.
Yeah, the 90s is weird because I would say the earlier, I'm talking 90 to 95, it was more of Silence of the Lambs, like Seven. When did Seven come out? That came out in 95, right? I'm
What,
pretty
Silence of the
sure.
Lambs? No, 7? Yeah,
Yeah.
7 is 95, I think. 94, 95, I think 95. I think you're right.
But in terms of like our favorite, franchise type horror, it was a pretty bad decade. And then, as we know, the movie came along and changed the game. So it'll be interesting to see how many pre this movie that I'm talking about horror movies made our lists.
It will. I know
Like,
there's a lot on my
like,
honorable mention,
yeah,
but uh,
it'll be a very interesting list.
it will because it's
Very
kind
hard, very tough to put together.
right, and it's
Very
kind of
tough.
it's kind of like when back when Fancy Talk was a show with me and Blaster, and we did the 90s.
hmm
We did the top 10, I think, 90s songs, right? And what was
Yeah.
interesting was there were so many different mixes of genres in there, and that's kind of how these movies are. There's not just slasher movie. There's psychological thrillers and all kinds of different shit. So
hmm
it's just an interesting decade. All right, let's see
Yeah,
who's in the
James
chat.
Grant. He's right.
What'd you say?
Horror, because the '80s was like gold mine for horror. They would make them cheap, ma- you know, triple the profits, probably even more than that. Probably understating that. But then, yeah, in the 90s, it was all, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
he's
think
right. Psychological
yeah.
thrillers. That's what I was trying to say earlier. He's right.
Well,
It's
I
about the psychological thrillers. Yeah.
right. And the 80s, like you said, once these studios realized that they were able to churn out these profits in the early 80s, every fucking studio was just make a horror movie, make a horror movie, make a horror movie. And at the very least, they were making their money back. Well, horror is kind of, it's cyclical. Eventually, people are going to get not sick of it, but people, eventually there's going to be something new that is going to kind of be the new craze. And, it just, it took, like you mentioned, a certain movie to revitalize it. A
hmm
little bit past halfway through the decade, but yeah, it's interesting. But let's see who else is in the chat. We have a lot of usual suspects. We got Allie. Hey, Allie. Popping the popcorn. Katie is here. Hey, how you doing, Katie? Shane Emerson. Who is that? I haven't
He's a
seen.
working man. He's a working stiff now.
Good for you, Shane. Work is way more important. Make that money. Uh, Review it, Rob. What's up, Rob? How's it going, man? Scott. is here with his hey hoes as usual. Uh, Paxton Scroggin says, crazy, I sent this category about the 90s movies to Jake not too long ago. Oh, ironic. Well, we'll pick up and Jake can make a video on it himself too, because I know he'll probably have a fascinating list himself.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, James Morant is also in the chat. So thank you guys for showing up. It's kind of last minute. We were trying to debate whether we could go this week or not. And yeah, but here we are. That's what counts. So yeah. Anything you remember from the 90s, not really, we're going to get into our top 10s here shortly, but is there anything you remember from the 90s growing up as far as like horror movies go that just kind of sticks out in your brain?
Sticks out in my brain, yeah. Like, James hit the nail on the head earlier when you talked about the psychological thrillers. Like, some of these psychological thrillers were critically acclaimed. Like,
Yes.
you know,
Academy
like
Awards.
won Oscars.
Yeah.
Academy Awards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird decade for horror, but the commercially popular shit, they just fell off a cliff, man. Halloween, it was on a hiatus. They tried to come back with Halloween 6. I did a Halloween 6 video a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it was better than 5, but I mean, it was like these franchises we love, they're straight to horror. And these psychological thrillers were kind of coming to the forefront. And
Yeah.
then it all changed, which we'll get into.
Yeah. Horror.
So yeah,
Horror evolved
just,
a little bit.
so what sticks out is just how dead it was, and then changes on a dime. And then
Yeah.
it's back again. And it's really never slowed down since. I really don't think.
No, and you
Like,
could make
horror
it.
has been strong since.
It
Yeah.
has. It has. And then if you're talking about, slashers, probably maybe the Halloween 2018, slashers went dormant for a little bit, and then Halloween 2018 came along, and boom, they're back. All these franchises are trying to profit off of nostalgia and all that shit.
Right.
It's
But
interesting.
slashers will always prevail. They
True.
always will.
True. What sticks out for me is I was going over some of the movies on this list, and we're talking about the 90s. And I'm like, oh yeah, the 90s. That was like, what, 10, 12 years ago? No. That was like 30 years ago. So it's just crazy, man. It's just absolutely
And,
crazy.
and also the 90s, which I will bring up on my list, we talked about that movie,
Yeah.
and there was a run after that movie till about 99, and then horror changed again.
Yes.
And we'll get into that when I drop my list here. We're going to talk about that.
Oh shit, 99. I think.
Like
I think I know what movie you're talking about, and it's not on my
You know
list.
what I'm talking about.
I remember
You know
seeing it
what
in the
I'm talking
theater.
about.
Yeah, I do. Am it.
And it's very interesting about it. But yeah, like that's when horror it changed again, right there. A couple things happened in the 90s with ushered in things to come. And they're
Yeah.
all on my list.
Are they?
They are.
See.
The things, it'll make total sense when I drop the number 10.
Well, let's.
Number 10 will make perfect sense.
I'm curious. Should we just do it?
If everybody's ready, did you guys have enough time to get your lists? Paxton says he's not crazy about 90s horror movies, but
Yeah.
maybe through the lists tonight,
Yeah.
you'll have a nice healthy list that you can go back and kind of relive the days.
Yeah, and if nobody has their list, that's on me. By the time I was able to get this scheduled,
Well, I promoted it a couple of days ago.
Okay.
So if anybody saw that, hopefully, it doesn't take long to put this together.
No, although I was struggling a little bit. I actually had more movies than I thought. Like there's a lot of there's movies that I remember renting for my birthday on VHS. In the early 90s when I was really young, that I have nostalgia with that I wanted to put on there, and they just didn't make the list. So there's actually more movies than I thought, because I thought I'd have like 3 or 4 and then struggle, but there's a lot on here. I've watched a few of these the last few weeks too. It's been fun.
Okay.
All right.
I'm excited.
All right.
Now
I'm excited to hear your number 10, bud. So let's rip the Band-Aid off.
All right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, I do.
All right. So number 10 would foreshadow a a trend in horror that would really. This was a kind of a isolated thing, but then like 3 4 years later would kick off a whole new trend. And I'm talking about my number 10, which is Psycho from 1998. Now I know a
Are
lot
you
of
talking about the Vince
people,
Vaughn
it
one?
doesn't, the Vince Vaughn one. It
Okay.
does not compare to the original, which is to me is the granddaddy of all slashers, right? The original Psycho. So the selling point on this was going to be a shot for shot remake of Alfred Hitchcock's classic.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Was that Gus Van Sant that did that?
Gus
Right.
Van Sant directed it. Anne Heche played
That's right.
what's her face?
How's she doing
I
these
can't
days?
remember. William H. Yeah, she's on fire, man. William H. Macy was in it. I can't remember who else, but it wasn't very profitable. I mean, it probably was, but not too profitable. But my dad, he hates horror movies. But Psycho, when he was a kid, it was the only movie that scared the shit out of him, and he actually wanted to go see it. But it would, like 3 4 years later, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre did a remake, and then from there it just set off the remake craze, right?
Yes.
So that's why I have to put Psycho. It's not bad. It's not bad. You can get over the fact that Vince Vaughn is playing Norman Bates, but
Yeah, I wish
it's
it
really not
wasn't.
too
I
bad.
wish it wasn't a shot for shot remake. I wish it would have kind of, done a few more things. But I'll tell you what, Gus Van Sant's a talented director, and when you were watching
Yeah.
this at the time, you see Vince Vaughn and what you think of Swingers, right? You don't think of the Vince Vaughn from
Yeah, yeah, you think of
Dodgeball, right?
swingers, yeah, fast talking comedy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what you
So
think of.
yeah, so it's not like Dodgeball Vince Vaughn where he's just sarcastic the whole time. Yeah, it was played straight,
Right.
so it's interesting. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. And like I say, I'm just trying to think here. So Psycho came out. The OG came out in what 1960, right? So this was 38
Right.
years. 38 years after the original.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so that's a long
Seemed
time.
it seemed like a weird time to make that, but
Yeah,
I mean, they took a swing and a little ahead of their time, but it
yeah.
was foreshadowed things to come. So
Okay, good call. I forgot about that. I forgot that was in the 90s. All right,
yeah.
my number 10 is, I don't know if I'd call this underrated. It's so after a certain movie came out in '96, there were a slew of other movies
Hmm.
involving, and I got a few on my list involving pretty people, pretty young stars, high school stars, and this is one of them that I think I'll call
When
it underrated.
when you think back to it, it was a brilliant
Yes.
marketing thing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. You put all these good looking people that a lot of them end up becoming superstars after these movies, and you put them on the
Yeah.
poster, and boom, horror movies were hot. Boom, 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 just churn them out. And a lot of them were, I mean, there were some bad ones, but some of them were decent. And I think my number 10 is Disturbing Behavior. I don't know if you,
Oh yeah, man.
Katie
Of course,
Holm.
I watched
Yeah.
it. I watched it not too long ago, and
Yeah, me
it's
too.
pretty crazy how on point this movie was
Yeah, yeah, it's
with,
kind of
with the
like
way
got
things
a
were
Invasion of
filmed.
the Body Snatchers type feel to it.
Exactly,
But
for sure.
Katie Holmes is in it. The dude from X Men, what's his name? James Marsden, is that his name?
Marsden, Nick
Marsden, Nick
Stahl, he's in.
Stahl. Yeah. It's a. I won't call it like a great movie or anything like that, but I wore the VHS out, and I think this might have came out 98, 99, something like that. But I
It has
wore
a
the,
great fucking
Oh, it
soundtrack. I
does.
do. I
Yeah, very
remember
very
that.
metal, if I recall.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a good movie that I really enjoyed. So that is my number 10. All
that's a
right.
good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
All right. Let's see the chat.
It's on my honorable mentions for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's good. All right. I'll see if anyone has any number 10s in the chat here.
Yeah,
If you
there
do,
there
feel
there are a few.
free. Cool. Let's see here. First, Blake is in the house. What is up, Blake? Um, James Morant's number 10. The Craft. The four leads were so great. That Craft came
Yeah,
out, what, 96, I believe, as well.
but you are correct. It was
Um,
I think it was Dimension.
it was, yeah. And look at
So
yeah,
it
the
came out
cast in
before
that.
that movie, which we're going to talk about later, hit.
Yeah,
So
so The Craft came out in 96, starring Nev Campbell and Skeet Ehrlich. And what's her face?
Perusa Balk,
What's the chick
I can't
from
remember.
Waterboy? The hell?
She was also in Empire Records.
Yes, yes. But yeah, good cast in that
Yeah.
movie. Um, Allie with, or no, sorry, Scott is next. Scott with The Faculty. Yes, that will be talked about at some point. Great movie.
Yeah.
Allie with Sleepy Hollow. I believe that's the Tim Burton and what's her face went from Adam's Family, right?
This is Christina Ricci.
Christina
Yes.
Ricci. Yes, yes. Good atmosphere in that movie. Very Burton-y. Paxton with
Mhm.
Uncle Sam. I loved it because it was so bad. Dude, I have heard of this movie, Uncle Sam, and I've always kind of
Uh,
wanted to watch it. I've been curious.
Believe it or not, you can get Uncle Sam in 4K
Shut up.
high definite. Yes, you can.
Wow.
I think it had Isaac. What's his name? The guy that sings Chef from South Park. He's in it.
Oh, Isaac Hayes. Yeah.
It's a nice. It's not bad at all. It really is not. I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Okay. Yeah. Um,
it.
Jason Rand says, Nick Anne Heche, I like her, sir. I like Anne Heche too. She's in another movie I'm going to be talking about at some point as well. But
We mean no disrespect.
yeah, no disrespect. We're just being sarcastic jerks sometimes. You know, it happens.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yes. Yes. All right. Allie says Barry Watson was in it too, I think. I think you're right. Scott says Katie Holmes played a bad girl because she had a nose ring. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Thanks, Blake. The Nuggets, world
Yeah.
champs.
Yeah, I can't believe Bud's on a
The
roll
Broncos
here.
are next. Watch
Oh,
out.
God. Yeah, right.
These things come in threes. Teaching Mrs. Tingle. That's right.
That was another
Katie
Kevin
Holmes
Williams.
in
That was another. That was the only.
It was,
that Kevin
yeah.
Williamson directed that, I believe. His only movie
That's the one
directed.
they allowed. They like. He's like, I will do another fucking Scream script until you let me direct this piece of shit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But another good
Hostage
cast.
situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah. All right. Number 9. What do you got, man?
My number 9 is 19, I believe, 98. Urban Legend. I mean, it's just a fun kind of original. You didn't see very many original things. It was always kind of a ripoff. I mean, it was kind of a ripoff in a way, but it was still a fun concept. We've seen the Halloween, April Fool's Day,
Yeah.
everything associated with a holiday, but never to something as cool as urban legends. We've all grew up with urban legends, and made a fairly decent movie. Had that hot young cast like you're talking about, twist ending. Kind of, they could have had franchise potential there, but they kind of blew it. But
Yeah.
still a fun movie. What do you think of Urban Legend? Is it on your
Um,
list later?
I will say 2 things. Number 1, I just watched it last week Saturday.
Yeah.
And number 2, I will talk about it shortly.
Okay. Well, then we'll hold some of it.
Yeah. But yes, clearly it's a fun movie. I think you were going to do a live stream on it at some point, if I recall, weren't you?
Yeah.
You did Valentine. You did
down the
Valentine.
road.
I'm sure you'll come
I did
back to it.
Valentine. Well,
Yeah.
I did a vote, and it was tied.
And then it disappeared. That's
The
right.
tie vote. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a
Okay.
tie vote. I
Okay.
broke the tie. I
You
did
broke the
Valentine.
tie. Yeah, that's okay. It was close to Valentine's Day anyway, so that makes sense. All right, my number 9 is a movie starring Kevin Bacon.
I know what it is.
No, you don't.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
That's not it?
I don't consider that a horror movie, but if I did, that would be in like the top 3 because I love that movie so much.
Oh man, what could it be then?
Late
Could it
90s,
be?
99, I believe 99.
Stir of Echoes.
Stir of Echoes is correct.
Yeah. All right.
I was late to the party in this movie. I just watched it for the first time 7 or 8 years ago, and I dug the hell out of it. Kevin Bacon, he gets like hypnotized, and all of a sudden he starts being very cognizant of the spirit world, and there's a girl ghost in his house she's basically trying to help him solve her murder, and it ends up it's just very creepy, very well done. Kevin Bacon starts slowly kind of eroding and losing his mind. A lot of jump scares because it was the jump scare era. But I enjoyed the movie, and I thought it was kind of a unique take. I mean, well, maybe not unique, but I thought it was a well done take on a classic ghost story, especially in the '90s when
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I may need to revisit.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
But when I think of Kevin Bacon, and I know that stir of echoes. I know it.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
need to be refreshed.
Yep. That's all a lot of these movies are.
All right, let's get to the nines. Anything else you want to say
Nope. That's
on
it.
that? All right, number nine from James Rant, Sleepy Hollow. The visuals were fantastic. Is that a Burton directed film?
Yeah, it's Burton.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paxton. What? Halloween 6? That's bold. That is bold.
It is bold, but I
Scott
can't
was a very
argue.
very interesting. Man's Best Friend from 1993
Dude,
with
I
Ali
forgot
Sheedy.
about that movie. That was like a
It's
Cujo
kind
type
of
movie, right?
that's right. Yeah, Cujo. Except I think it was in a neighborhood
Okay.
instead of
Ali Sheedy, that had to be at like the end of her run. I mean, it had to be a few years after, or I guess maybe like 8 years after. What's it called? The hell's the robot? Johnny Five. Short Circuit. Yeah.
yeah. Alley Girl with the Blair Witch Project.
That's right.
That's all the number nines. I'm not seeing a lot of chat participation, but that's okay.
That's because we
Let's
scheduled it 40 minutes before.
Yeah, Scotty, Urban Legend spoiled the movie on the back of the DVD, showing the picture of the kill. Yeah, it did.
Really?
Yeah, that shows her. She's
Wow.
kind of got that crazed look.
That's frustrating.
Um, James Morant says Bacon had a great performance in Stir of Echoes.
Yeah.
Robert England wants Kevin Bacon to play Freddy Krueger, but he's 65. Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Like, I don't understand why Robert England can't do it. Like, they could get a body double,
No, man.
CGI, they could pull it off. They could
No.
pull it off.
No.
All he has to do is talk. No?
No. No. Time to move
No.
on. Time to move on. It was time to move on.
So we're
15
okay with
years
him
ago.
doing Donald Pleasance in Halloween, but not like letting
Yes.
Robert England just do voice. Come on.
Yeah. No chance.
Yes.
No
Okay.
chance. No chance. In fact, I'm gonna make a video about fans that are in an
I,
uproar about this because it's just crazy. The fact that people think nobody else can play Freddy Krueger, I think, is just.
well, I don't think
I,
Jackie Earl Haley did too bad of a
he
job.
wasn't
He
bad.
just
He wasn't
played
bad.
it.
He was the least of the movie's problems.
Yeah, he played it just more serious.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
just think like you tell me there's no other actor in Hollywood talented enough to make the character of Freddy Krueger their own. They're not
Who's the
trying
guy?
to.
Who's the guy that plays Venom? Venom.
Oh, Tom Hardy.
That guy.
He's
Maybe he could
too
do it.
bulky. He's too bulky, isn't he?
Well, I mean, Christian Bale basically, starved himself, and I mean, it
True,
could be
that's
done.
true. Christian Bale's nuts though.
You just lean it out a little bit. He could do it. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a
Number eight.
tangent that's gonna piss people off. So we'll move on.
Well, Allie mentioned my number eight. Allie mentioned it, and it was one of the things I mentioned where genre changes. Um, the Blair Witch Project came out in 1999. This is a movie where you just had to be there and been able to see it in the theater when it came out. It was like this movie probably cost them 10 grand, if that,
Yeah,
to make. This movie was all profit, and people, word of mouth, like people were scared shitless by this movie. And I remember, back in my stoner days, out of the Navy, I went to see this, and I was fucking creeped out, man. It creeped me out.
I thought it was true at
And
the time.
yeah, a lot of people were like, "Is this?" Because the internet, this was kind of like, internet was kind of in the early
Yeah, it was in its
era
infancy.
of the internet.
Yeah,
So people were like, "Is this shit real?" We've never seen a found footage horror film, and then it just kind of kicked off a new craze, Paranormal Activity, and I'm sure there are others. But I mean, talk about cheap, all profit right there. But yeah,
right. And the marketing was crazy. And what's funny is,
yeah,
people were saying, or so the marketing was, people are throwing up in the movie theater, and it was true, but they weren't throwing up because it was scary. They were throwing up because it was a 80-foot screen and it was shaking the whole time, and your eyes couldn't.
Yeah,
I
about a
mean,
shaky
yeah,
cam.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but yeah, I like you said, I remember being a kid, and the marketing was going crazy for this movie, and I was 100% convinced it was a true story. I mean, I was a kid, but still, it's crazy.
I'm sure young people, if they watch this now, I mean, it just probably wouldn't hit the same.
No.
But you just had to be there.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's my number 7.
8.
8. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
All right, my number 8 is a movie that's been mentioned. I can't remember who mentioned it. Someone did. It's The Faculty. Always a big fan of this movie. The cast in here is, ridiculous. I've said that about a few movies so far, but this cast is crazy.
Yeah,
It's Josh
great
Hartnett.
cast.
Same year as H2O, same hairstyle. If you call that a style. But
It's like he walked across this, like from one
yeah,
set to
I
the
know.
other.
I know.
Yeah.
And even
That's probably what
even the
happened.
adult casts in here. You got Shooter McGavin,
Ba-
Selma
Baby
Hayek.
Newworth from
Yes,
Frasier.
yes, yes, yes.
Piper, what's her name? Piper.
Piper.
She was an old lady.
Yeah, I know who you're
The
talking
old
about.
lady.
Yeah, the old lady. Yeah,
Piper. What the fuck? Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I
But
had a good cast.
this is another kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Jon Stewart's another one. Invasion of the Body Snatchers type movie where aliens have taken over the school. It's essentially a take on My Teacher is an Alien, right? Was it? You ever remember
Yeah.
that book or that tale? Your Teacher is an Alien.
Vaguely,
Yeah.
vaguely, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good movie. Very 90s, like a lot of these late 90s movies are. They just scream late 90s. But
Was it just
I always enjoyed it.
snorting speed?
Yes, yes.
And then that's what kills it.
Yes, yeah, that is funny, and it's just caffeine or something like that. But yeah, it's funny.
Right,
Guaranteed,
wink,
yeah,
right.
yeah, guaranteed
Right.
to jack you
It,
up.
it probably wasn't written in the script that way, but they probably
But
changed that.
yeah, right, yeah,
Right. Wink.
right.
Wink.
Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Maga Cat, how you doing, man? Says Dave McCrae looks and sounds amazing as Freddy. Yeah, the trailer looked good. I'm sure McCrae has done a good job. I'm excited to see what's it called. What's the movie?
Alex's or some shit.
No,
Alex's Nightmare or something.
Dylan's New Nightmare. Yeah, that's right.
Dylan,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
I knew
I'm
it.
excited to see that
Yeah.
because I'll be talking about the original at some point. But all right, James Morant says The People Under the Stairs. It's a Wes Craven movie, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
It's just basically
is.
like Panic Room. I remember seeing that as a kid. I don't think I've seen it since. I remember it being really kind of
Yeah,
weird.
I
I remember it
haven't
being weird, really weird. I'd like to revisit that at some point if I can, stop watching the same 10 movies all the time.
Yeah.
Paxton says his number 8 is I Know What You Did Last Summer. That is
We'll
a
be
good
talking
movie.
about
We
this
will
one,
be
sure.
talking about that. Alley Girl's number 8 is Candyman. The Tony
Yeah, that was early
Todd.
90s.
Yeah, 92 if I'm not mistaken. I love the atmosphere in that with like Chicago and stuff like that. It's not on my list, spoiler alert, but
Yeah, not on mine either.
I do enjoy Candyman. Scott's number 8 is The Dentist, starring the
Yeah.
third baseman for the Cleveland Indians.
Roger Dorn.
Yes, I remember that movie. Ridiculous, but fun. Ridiculous, yeah. Allie says I loved watch Blair Witch in theater. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. I mean, it just had to be there.
Yeah. James Morantz.
That's right. That's right, Blake. And Ronnie's in the chat. Yeah. You noticed you have shorter hair all of a sudden.
I do. I got a haircut maybe hour and a half ago. Bud said let's go live tonight. I said I can't do it.
No.
because-
We locked this in days ago.
I know. I'll be honest. I'll be 100% honest. I didn't want to go live. The longer my hair gets, the more grays you see. And I'm not ready for that salt and pepper look yet. So I got it cut. Just for you, Ronnie.
What are you talking about? Like women love salt and pepper. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't want to be old yet.
You need to embrace it.
I'll embrace it next year.
Embrace it. I mean, next year's not guaranteed. You might be in a gulag somewhere.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
All right, let's what are we on? 7? Let's get to
I
sevens here.
believe so. All right, my number
I'm
seven.
ignoring that, Blake.
Yeah, so you were just talking about The Faculty. I watched it back recently. It'd been a while. I mean, it's just a blast, that
It
movie.
is. It's fun.
Like like you said, the cast is great. Can't remember her name, Mary Jane Rotten Crutch. She was the villain, the main villain.
Yes.
They had a nice little twist.
Yes.
It's a fun movie.
Like you said, it's
But
fun. It's you can put it in and you can put it in and watch it closely. You can put it in the background, and it's a fun movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that's my seven.
All right. My seven, we're kind of flip flopping here. My seven is Urban Legend. I think that was like your 9, right?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Um, like I said, I just watched this last weekend, so you think I'd have a lot to say, but it's a very, it's another one of those
Oh,
movies that came out after Scream, and is very screamified. But the twist at the end, spoiler, of it being a chick, Danielle Harris is in it. There's just a lot. There's a lot of creepy death scenes. It's a pretty decent mystery. I'll say this: Tara Reid's chase scene is extremely good. It's one of my favorite chase
right.
scenes.
Yeah,
I think it.
she's tough in that one. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you hadn't watched this thing a week ago or whatever, would this even be on your top 10 list?
Yes.
You think?
I
Okay.
think
All
I
right.
it wouldn't be guaranteed, but it would have been strongly considered. Yeah. I think it's
Okay.
aged pretty decently, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, and like I said, just another movie with a good cast. It's got what's his face plays the Joker in those
The Jared Leto,
Jared
Alicia
yeah,
Witt, Danielle Harris.
Danielle
Yeah.
Harris, yeah,
Yeah.
Rebecca
James said she was
Gayheart.
hot. You only see her from like profile though.
Yeah, she was a.
Chain smoking.
I remember the first time I saw this, and because Danielle Harris plays, like you said, a chain smoking goth, kind of sex addict. I
Using
would almost say, and I remember seeing this and be like,
using
holy
up
fuck, yeah,
using up the phone line. Yeah.
yeah. But I remember seeing it when I was younger and just be like, I get it. Yes, Danielle Harris is an attractive woman, but I remember seeing it and just being like, this is a girl from Halloween 4.
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
don't want to see her like this.
me and Danielle Harris are like really close in age, so
Yeah. Okay. So
I
yeah,
mean,
I
it's not
get
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. But it's just I just remember thinking that and be like, I don't want to see this. But yeah,
Yeah.
I loved the beginning of the movie too. With it's Chucky, right? It's Brad Dourif plays a gas station attendant, and
Right.
someone in the
Yeah.
back seat. Like
That's a great opening, man.
it is a
Yeah.
great opening. But yeah, so what was that? That's my number 7. Let's see if people in the chat.
Yeah. It's my turn.
Is it?
James Moran, Night of the Living Dead. I watched the the old one. What a fucking great movie that
Oh,
was.
it's so good. It's
The
so
old
good.
one.
I haven't seen the remake.
So the remake, it's in color. I mean, it's pretty much the same movie, but yeah, a lot of people like it. A lot of people, they like what's new. That's what they like.
Yep.
But damn, man, the old Night of the Living Dead is so great. Let's see here, Scotty. Deep Rising with Treat Williams. Rest in peace, Treat
R.I.P.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pretty crazy. Review it, Rob. Halloween H2O.
H2O. That is a 90's movie. That's crazy.
Yeah. Alley Girl 7, which we're gonna be talking about. And then Paxton Scoggins with John Carpenter's Vampires with I think James what's his
James
name?
Woods.
James Woods, yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's not too bad.
I was watching something. I think I was watching a couple days ago, actually. I was watching one of Cody Leach's videos, and he was saying, he mentioned John Carpenter's Vampires, and he was saying James Woods plays one of the coolest characters in this movie, like coolest vampires or
Yeah.
something ever. So it kind of made me want to see it.
It's kind of a Walking Deadish, but not a little more tongue in cheek, but they're just going around in like just killing vampires. It's fun.
Okay.
Definitely a fun
I'll have to
movie.
check it out.
It's not, yeah. definitely check it out. I don't know where you can stream that, but
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
and I think that's gonna round it out. James Morant, of course, such Daniel. The chick at the end is really started killing people. We're talking about
Urban
the end of
legend.
what?
Urban legend, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the killer the whole time.
Adam Howard, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, and Bride of Chucky.
Child's Play 2 did not
Well,
make my list, but I fucking love
they
Child's Play
all
2.
came. Yeah, they all of those came in the 90s. I would say I like Bride of Chucky out of those three.
Really?
Like
Better?
Child's Play 3, I liked it a lot when I was younger, but man, I watched it recently. It's just a shit show.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, Child's Play 2 has one of the best third acts in horror. Not just
It's
Child's
pretty
Play,
good.
when
It's
they go
pretty
to the good guy factory, it's really fucking good. And when he realizes he can't get his soul in Andy and he just fucking gets
good.
pissed off, oh, it's so good.
God damn it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
I always like the original where the mom's about to throw his ass in the
Oh,
fire and he's like, "Do it, dude." That's fucking great.
oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
You stupid bitch.
You filthy slut! I'll teach you to fuck with me, or whatever the line is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we're on to 6, right?
We're on 6.
Yeah, Blake. Ronnie says James Wood makes
Okay.
the movie Vampires. Yeah, he does. All right, Exorcist 3 came out in 1990. Great. It's a great sequel. A step up above the original. It's better than the original.
I agree.
Let's be honest.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very fucking scary movie. And I'm sure, I don't know, is that going to come up on your list later? Maybe
It is not. But
it is not. It did not make it.
it did not. But I will
You
say,
can,
I love The Exorcist 3. It's really good.
You
The
can get
story
The
is
Exorcist
fantastic.
3. Yeah, good story, a lot of good scares. It's
Another
just,
another Brad Dourif,
overall,
right? Is Brad Dourif in this?
I think so.
Yeah, he's been in
I
a
think
lot.
so.
Wow.
A lot of great performances in this one. But yeah, you can find that on 4K Blu-ray, kids.
Yeah, I need to
Get
rewatch
your
it.
get your sixes in.
All right, am I up for 6?
You are.
I thought it was fitting to put this movie at number 6. It's a Sixth Sense. Came out.
That's not a horror movie, is it?
So here's where I've run into some issues. So there's a couple other movies that I do not have on my list that I don't think are horror movies. This I do think is a horror movie. However, it's the same argument as 2 of the movies that are not on my list. So it's kind of there's this is where we were talking about earlier with the kind of mix of genres, and are they psychological thrillers? Is Jaws a horror movie?
Right.
I can say is Jaws a horror movie? Is Tremors a horror movie? I don't know where that line is. I just know what I consider a horror movie. And
Okay, fair
yeah,
enough. Fair enough.
yeah. So I mean, I get your argument. I don't have a rebuttal to that at all.
You know what? You know what? I only asked because I didn't even consider it.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't have a rebuttal. Like you're probably right. It's probably not. I don't know. But for me, it's unfortunate that we can never watch this movie again without knowing the twist. You can try. You can't. You really can't. That's how effective this twist
Bruce
was.
Willis might be able to, but not us.
Oh, Jesus, I'm not even touching that, man.
Sorry.
There's sarcastic and there's mean, and you're teetering. You're teetering, man.
I just have it's a flaw, and I just have the dark sense of humor.
Oh man, that is a
Can't
dark
help
sense of humor. It's
literally
black comedy
cannot
right there.
help
That's
myself.
black comedy right there, man.
Yes, I literally can't help myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't get
no.
offended.
I'm not offended. Nobody be offended.
Dark
You know us.
sense of humor
Yeah.
will serve you well through your life.
Yeah, you know us. There's no ill intent behind that. It's for a chuckle. But yeah, Sixth Sense, my number 6. Let's see what you guys got in the chat as some of your number 6s. Starting with James Morant. Scream 2, best sequel in the franchise. I agree that it is the best sequel in the franchise. It's crazy that it came out.
It's in the
less than-
contender for the best horror movie in 1990s, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't argue with that statement there. Okay, next, Scott. House on Haunted Hill with Tay Diggs. Dude, I love that movie. I want it. That's on my honorable mentions here. I think it's a really,
Yeah.
really creepy, well done movie.
I'll need to go back and revisit that. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's very different than
Also a remake, right? A
correct
remake.
remake of the old Vincent Price
Yeah.
movie, I believe. Adam Howard says Child's Play 3 has some of his favorite Chucky moments, so I can't hate it. Don't fuck with the Chuck. That's from Child's Play 3. I like that line.
Yeah. Right.
Paxton Scroggins says It, the 1990 miniseries. That'll
Yeah.
be brought up again. James Moran says Exorcist 3, one of the best jump scares. Yes, absolutely. Maybe the best jump scare. And it's so much more than that. But yeah, I agree with you, James. Allie's number 6, going Interview with a Vampire. Yeah, that talk about a cast there with Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Kirsten Dunst, Keanu Reeves.
I'm just not very big on vampire films.
I'm not either. It's not on my list, but I do remember it was a big deal when it came out.
Like
And
Frank Langella's when he was Dracula in the late '70s, had Donald Pleasance in it.
yeah,
To me, that'll always be Dracula.
yeah. Oh, Gary Oldman's in Interview with a Vampire, if I'm not mistaken, too.
No, is he?
I think
I
so.
know he's in the remake of.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're getting them. I think we're both idiots and getting them confused.
It's a vampire movie about old vampire
It has
lores,
Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah, and Kirsten Dunst, and Keanu Reeves is in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Review It Rob says Scream. That will be brought up again, I would assume, my friend. It's not on my list, but I assume it's on Bud's. I'm kidding. It's on my list.
Bruce Willis sold the rights to his digital likeness. We will see digital Bruce Willis in the future.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Why not just get Blake? Blake could pull off Bruce Willis if he runs a few more 5Ks.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What are we on? 5?
All right. We are on number 5. This is where it gets hard here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? I know what you did last summer. So when it initially came out when I was younger, I wasn't a big fan. You know that show Party of Five?
Absolutely.
I just had a like a hatred of it. And
Really?
of course, Jennifer Love Hewitt was on it. I just couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand really Dawson's Creek that much either.
Oh, I love Dawson's Creek.
But
okay. Continue.
yeah, but I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer in 4K. Beautiful 4K Blu-ray. It holds up and ages well. Great cast, you had Freddie Prinze, Jennifer Love Hewitt, what's her name? Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar. And
Don't what's her
Ryan
name,
Coogler.
Sarah Michelle Gellar to me, man.
Well, when I can't remember, that's what I said.
I know. Continue.
Sorry.
Continue.
Is that like the worst thing I've said all night?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize. But yeah, nice story. I think this was a Kevin Williamson story, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, they're getting ready to reboot this thing because, it's worth going back to. It's a good movie. It had great soundtrack, great opening, fun movie.
I agree.
All right.
I agree. I will save my thoughts. But yes, that can't argue. Everything you said is correct. My number 5. We're going back to the beginning of the decade, 1990. I just realized I have a couple 1990s in my top 5. But I think this is 1990. Misery with James Caan and,
That's
of course,
a good one.
Kathy Bates, a Stephen King movie. This movie is just creepy as hell. Kathy Bates is phenomenal in this movie. James Caan is great, and it's just one of those winter horror movies where James Caan is a writer. He gets in a car accident.
Someone needs to do this shit to David Gordon Green.
Jesus, dude, be careful what you say. Somebody probably fucking will. One of these people that watch YouTube videos.
You know what?
Have been
You're
going
right. I
nuts.
apologize, David Gordon Green. I'm sorry. You're right.
Oh man, but yeah, the convenient accident. Yeah, someone's gonna be writing.
I didn't like your last book.
Yeah, yes,
I don't like this piece of shit.
Yeah, and it's funny because Stephen King it's probably one of Stephen King's biggest fears. But yeah, Kathy Bates is great in this movie. Really creepy, especially when she takes the sledgehammer to James Caan's
Oh my
foot.
God. Yeah.
I know in the book it was an axe, but still, I have to turn away when she takes a sledgehammer to his ankle there with the wood.
The axe is merciful, really.
Yes, right.
It would be worse to get your feet shattered.
Yeah, yeah, but very creepy movie, very good movie. So, all right, let's see what we got in the chat besides Jake Blaster being a little bit mean.
Is it my turn?
I think it's your turn.
All right. Jake Blaster so far pushes list sucks per usual. That's not bad. I don't have any problems with your list. Army of Darkness, most fun movie to watch in the franchise. Yeah. The Evil Dead.
Yep. Yeah,
a lot of people really
Bruce
like
Campbell's
that.
Bruce Campbell really is good in that.
Paxton Scoggin, Halloween H2O. Here's a off the wall one here from Scotty. Office Killer, 1997, with Carol Kane and Molly Ringwald.
Ooh, I've never seen it, but I like Carol Kane. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, Molly Ringwald kind of takes a villain. She's like I think she's the villain.
Really?
Am I right? Scotty, remind me. I think Molly Ringwald's the villain. I could be wrong. A review of Rob, Misery as well. Jake
Nice.
Blaster's already getting his number one in Halloween H2O. And then Alley Girl, she loved the It miniseries. Yeah.
Me too.
James Morant, let's see here, what do we miss here? James Morant, she was like Mrs. Voorhees, started all sweet and then turned psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jake would probably do that thing we talked about. David Gordon Green. You motherfucker, you!
He's just crazy enough.
Yeah. So, that's the number 5s.
All right. Number 4. I'm curious. Like, obviously, I know one of your top 4 here, but I'm curious what else you got.
Well, number 4 is going to be 7. I can't remember David Fincher. It has Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and
Spacey.
What's his name? Kevin Spacey. Just, man, great movie. I don't even know really what to say about it. It's just about a serial killer that taunts the police. It's just
he's in the 7 Deadly Sins. It's
the 7 Deadly Sins. Yeah, that shit kind of speaks to me. Always leaves clues and
the noir feel to it. I can never pronounce that. Is that the noir feel to it? Like it's
noir,
just crazy.
right.
Yeah,
noir.
It's always raining outside, right? Like it's so cool.
And it has a brutal, shocking ending.
Yes.
Gwyneth Paltrow. If you haven't seen it, I guess we should not spoil it, but
no, but it's
like
good.
Psychological thriller, I would say, but man,
yeah,
so good.
And Spacey channels his real self, crazy self, a little bit because he's great as John Doe.
Yeah.
All right, my number 4 is going to be Wes Craven's New Nightmare from 1993. No, 94. 94. Yep, 94, I believe. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this movie. Freddy Krueger, as the 80s went along and, he became a rock star, became less and less scary, became a goddamn joke in the very early 90s with Freddy's Dead in 91. And then Wes Craven came up with this idea, which ended up being a little bit of a precursor to another movie we're both going to talk about, probably at our number 1s. This movie was ahead of its time.
It definitely was a precursor.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, ahead of its time. Very, all these actors from the original are playing themselves. This isn't actually Freddy Krueger. This is an evil entity using Freddy Krueger to come back in the real world, and it's just very clever, very well done. It's not the best Freddy movie. If you're watching a movie in this franchise and you want to see Freddy Krueger, this is a great movie, but I would not suggest watching this movie. This is just, it's a little more psychological, a little bit more of a slow burn, but it's very, very good, and it made Freddy scary again. There's only like 2 kills in this movie, or maybe 3.
Yeah, not very many.
Yeah, but it's very good, and Heather Langenkamp is really good in this. It's crazy that this is only 10 years after the original, because she looks She just seems a lot. She doesn't really. She looks great in it, but it just seems a lot, more mature. And I guess that does happen in 10 years if you're, you know, not a guy,
It was
right?
the gray hair she got in the original.
Yeah, right, right. So,
Like,
so
like
yeah,
once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But
It
yeah,
has to be.
yeah. But that's my number four. I think I'm up in the chat, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. James Morant, Silence of the Lambs, released on Valentine's Day. I did not know that was released on Valentine's Day. But yeah, Silence of the Lambs is great.
Date night movie. Yeah.
I remember in the 90's, like late 90's, I remember climbing the rope. At the beginning of the movie, Jodie Foster is training at the FBI Academy in Quantico. And my dad was actually in the FBI Academy. A few years later, he was invited to go to the FBI Academy. And I remember we had a family vacation there where we got special tour of the White House and all that. I remember it was a big deal when we were there. It's like, this is where Jodie Foster was in The Silence of the Lambs. It was like that big of a deal. So it was a big movie. And that was one of the
Yeah,
movies
it
we were
was.
talking about earlier when we're talking about Academy Awards and things like that.
Yeah, it's funny you mention it because we're about to talk about it more
Okay, sorry.
when we move on up three.
We'll continue here. Review it, Rob. Just asks, does The Mummy count as a horror film or is it action adventure? I would probably consider it action adventure, but if you want to consider it a horror movie, call it a
It's
horror
your
movie.
list. It's your list.
There's a lot of give and take in some of this stuff. Paxton Scroggins says his number four is Scream. We will be talking about that. Scott, always the
Bats.
unique list,
Yeah.
and I absolutely fucking love it. By the way, Bats, 1999 with Lou Diamond Phillips. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Bats, I do remember that movie. I just can't remember like the details.
That's right. He
about it.
died in a plane crash, right? Yeah, the poor guy.
Yeah.
La
Review it,
Bamba.
Rob's
Come
number
on.
four is The Craft. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah, great movie. A lot of nostalgia, and it's got a lot of fans still to this day. Allie's number four is Carrie to the Rage. I've
Yeah,
actually never
it's a
seen the
very
second.
divisive movie.
Is it?
Very divisive. Yeah, a lot of people love it, and equally amount of people hate it.
Okay.
I don't know why, but it's not too bad. It's you know,
Yeah.
for a '90s horror film, not bad at all.
Hey, if you can say a sequel that comes out, like 15, 20 years later, if you can say it's not too bad, I think that's a win.
Yeah, it is a win. Yeah,
Yeah.
not too bad.
Okay.
Not quite
Adam
extreme.
Howard has a movie here that I feel like I just need to fucking see. It says Mosquito, guilty pleasure movie about giant mosquito that has a Night of the Living Dead feel to it. That's right up my alley, man. I love stupid shit like that.
I need to look this up.
Yeah, like a giant mosquito. I used to love watching, made for TV movies when I was a kid about like bugs or whatever that go nuts and start killing people. Giant mosquito. That's intriguing to me, and I'm not even being facetious
Wow,
here. Like,
it was
literally.
not a big box office.
No.
Gunnar Hansen is in it.
Shut up. Yeah. No way.
Yeah. Yeah, $200,000 budget and made almost $1 million.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
All right. All right. You teased your number three because I was rambling.
Yeah,
What do you
Silence of
got?
the Lambs. I mean, Hannibal Lecter, like right up there. You got Michael Myers. I mean, I'm just saying, everybody knows who the fuck Hannibal Lecter is. Anthony Hopkins, didn't he win an Academy Award for this? I know it won Best Picture.
He did win an Academy Award, and he was only in it for like
Did
6
Jodie
minutes or
Foster too?
something.
Yeah,
Foster, I was at
man,
least nominated.
talk about maximizing every moment you're on the screen. Just probably life-changing performance for Anthony Hopkins there. Just a fucking memorable killer, multiple killers. I mean,
Yes.
I read the books. I remember reading Silence of the Lamb books. Like my mom's voracious reader.
Okay.
Stephen King. She loved Stephen King. She actually read this book before it became a movie. I think they made some of the earlier. I think Manhunter. You guys remember that?
No, but someone was telling me about that. It was like an 80s, like.
Yeah, it's an '80s
Something.
movie with William Peterson from CSI. It's
Oh,
has
I love William
Hannibal
Peterson.
Lecter's in it.
Yeah.
Like this book series had been out a while, and then this movie hits, and this author, he decides I need to write some sequels, and he wrote, what was that one with Ray
Red,
Liotta where he gets his,
Red
yeah,
Dragon.
like
Red Dragon.
like
No,
no. This was later. Red Dragon is a
I love
remake
Red
of
Dragon.
Manhunter.
Okay,
Red Dragon's a remake of
really?
Manhunter.
Okay.
What the fuck was it, everybody? Like he just wrote a sequel because of the success of Silence of the Lambs. Wrote the book and then they made the movie really quick.
Really?
Wasn't as good, man, but Silence of the Lambs, man, one of the greatest horror movies of the 90s.
Okay. Yeah. I have no argument. No argument. That was what, your number three?
Yeah, that was my number three.
All right, my number three is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
All
Like,
right.
like we mentioned earlier, like you're talking about, the cast is killer in this. As far as or not final, but as far
Hannibal,
as
that's right.
Hannibal,
It's
that's
called
right.
Hannibal.
That's right.
God damn, it was right on the tip of my tongue.
The obvious answer always.
Right?
But yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer. As far as movies that came out, because of the success of Scream, this is top for me. And I mentioned in a video the other day that there are certain days of the week that I think this is better than the original Scream. Today's not one of those days.
All right, turn the shit off.
Certain days of the week, the cinematography is fucking gorgeous in this movie with the mountains.
That I agree.
The way there's a scene where Ryan Felipe, gets kind of ran over by his car, and the fisherman's kind of standing over him, and you see the view. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The chase scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar might be my favorite chase scene of all time in any movie. It is that good, and she gets so
Better than
close to
Casey Becker. Damn it.
Yes,
You're ruining your reputation right here.
because I wouldn't consider I wouldn't consider Casey Becker's a chase scene, really.
Okay. Technically,
Tomato.
it is, but okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's my out there. But yeah, I love I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like I said, it is extremely. It has no reason to be as good as it is, but it is, and I've always had a little bit of a man crush on Ryan Felipe, so bonus points there.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love that guy. He's awesome.
So Nick, I think we're gonna have the same top two. I'm just gonna put that out there.
We won't.
We won't?
There's no way your number two is the same as my number two.
Well,
It can't be. It can't be.
So that means you left something off, and shame on you.
Wow. Yeah.
Number three's in the chat. Misery from James Morant. Misery, the movie, scared a lot of writers. Yeah. Paxton Scoggins, The Faculty. We both had that on our list. Alley Girl agrees with you, Nick. I'm sorry, I skipped Scotty. I'll come back to you. But I Know What You Did Last Summer. She agrees. Scotty, Wishmaster. Another off the wall. James Moran says Manhunter is so underrated. It is. Review it, Rob. New Nightmare. Such a need after horrible films we got in a row.
Yeah.
That was a nice little change of pace and kind of a, if it was the last. And I mean, he did come back for Freddy versus Jason a couple years later, but I mean, not a bad note to go out on.
Yeah.
If that is to be it,
Agreed.
That's gonna round out the number threes.
All right, I'm curious what I forgot here.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what you forgot. Scream 2, 1997. So rare. So rare is it to follow up a game change, like it changed the horror genre, right? A movie that changed the culture. So weird, and when you follow it up, usually it's a huge drop off.
Yep.
Scream 2 is right there. Right there. Just, repeating the formula, making it fresh a little bit. So you didn't have Scream 2 on your top 10 list?
I did not.
Well, I won't blow my load here on all the Scream because there will be more to come.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I didn't is I wanted to include a little bit of variety, but I can't.
We have to be intellectually honest here.
I'm spicing things up. I wanted to
Scream
include
2 cannot suffer just for some,
I wanted disturbing behavior on my
Spice it
list.
up.
Damn it. But no. Yeah, you're right. And the fact that it came out so quickly after the original, and that like you said, it was still clever where they were able to do the same thing they did with slasher movies, yet make it for sequels. Yeah, yeah. Scream 2 is great.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think they've ever been able to get back there, unfortunately. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, Scream 2
Yeah.
is a high bar. So yeah, I'm with you.
It is.
Scream 2 is great.
All right.
My number 2, a lot of nostalgia here, and that is going to be the It 1990 miniseries.
Okay.
What can I say? I got nostalgia. I love this miniseries. I feel like it's just got an ominous vibe and tone to the whole thing, especially the kids portion. It falls off the rails a little bit when you get to the adult portion, and
Right.
John Ritter's kissing Pennywise, "Kiss me, fat boy." Yeah, okay, I know that's very cheesy, and because it was made for TV on ABC, I believe. Tommy Lee Wallace's hands were tied a little bit as far as what he can show and stuff. But what they did with the kids portion, especially for the time it was set, and I think it was set in 1960, was just very creepy to me. And Tim Curry, obviously, you can't talk about It 1990 without talking about Tim Curry. Tim Curry was fabulous. So that's my number 2.
Did you ever read the book It?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah, it's a lot more disturbing than.
Oh my God, especially the adult part.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a long time
Pretty-
since I read it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you could tell Stephen King was on coke while writing this whole fucking movie. I mean, there's child orgies, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah, ridiculous.
Oh man, Blake off the top rope. Damn it! I couldn't believe I. Oh, great movie.
That is a good movie.
And it's a total oversight by me. Great one, good one.
Scott coming in with a movie that you texted me earlier today, bud, with Copycat, with Holly Hunter and Sigourney Weaver.
It almost made it.
Yeah.
Almost made it.
Yeah. James Morant, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, best Elm Street sequel. Ooh, that's a bold statement, but I love that. I love that movie.
Dream Warriors.
You know what's funny? I watched Dream Warriors recently, and it didn't age as well. It didn't age very well for me. I was shocked. It's the first horror movie I've ever seen. In my mind, it was better, than my last viewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
When was the last time you saw part 2?
very recently, and it's fucking aged
Did it
extremely
age
well.
well?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Yes. Isn't that?
It is crazy.
It's it's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. I thought it aged extremely well. It's crazy how that works. Paxton, I like it. Lake Placid, Bill Pullman, Oliver Platt, Bridget Fonda, I believe, and of course
Yeah.
Betty
Oh,
White.
Have you seen what happened to her? Oof.
Who? Betty White?
No,
Bridget Fonda. Yeah, that's sad.
God,
That's sad. That's really sad. Alley Girls number 2 is Misery. Yep, I was talking about that. I think that was my number 5. Great freaking movie.
Yeah.
Review it, Rob. I know Rob's a huge Chucky guy, so I'm not surprised. Bride
Yeah.
of Chucky is his number 2. And I know, Bud, you were just saying that you really enjoy that movie.
It was the last good Child's Play movie.
Oh,
for
easily.
Sure.
John Ritter's in that movie,
Yeah.
if I could recall. That's what's it called?
Yeah.
Wong, the same guy that did Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
Not Wong. What the hell's his name? I can't remember.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Ronnie Yu. Or Wu.
That's it.
Ronnie Wu.
That's it.
Yeah. Blake with single white female. That's a deep cut.
Another
right
Bridget
there.
Fonda movie.
That is
right
another
there,
Bridget
but
Fonda
it's
movie.
like
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, man, she was great.
Yes.
Kind of a turnaround from her role in Fast Times and Ridgemont High, just turned on its head.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Man, good one.
Yeah, James Morant, Stephen King was on coke making Maximum Overdrive. Bad movie.
That's true. Yeah,
that is a bad movie.
The guy had no business directing a movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
None at all.
That guy has no business doing a lot of things these days. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
So, all right, number ones. They're the same.
We both have the same one. So let's just like when you saw Scream the first time, or you're lucky to see it in the theater. It was a life changer, man. You knew that you'd seen something that was gonna change everything. And we've talked a lot about Scream,
Yeah.
so I won't like hit too much on it. But man, once in a lifetime, right there. What
Yeah.
do you think of Scream?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, we've had a lot of streams and things where we've dove into
Yeah,
Scream. I think back when you first started your channel a year ago, I think you had me on there, and it was like a 5 hour stream or something. I was like, Jesus, you're still going? Uh,
yeah.
but
It's when I
remember
told
that?
Josh that it
Yeah,
came out when he was a stain on the sheet. Remember that?
yeah, I remember.
One of
Yeah,
my more shameful moments. But yeah.
you got a few, but yeah, you know what's funny? I just thought of this. One of my first memories of Scream was kind of being annoyed because I remember being a kid that loved horror movies, right? And all of a sudden Scream comes out and everyone's a horror fan. I'm like, I was a fucking horror fan my whole goddamn life. And now everyone's jumping on that bandwagon. But yeah,
It's when you realized you weren't alone in the world, right?
true. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Seeing that other people liked it too. Seeing that there's other, there's Randys out there. That's the, the surrogate audience member. Yeah, it's fucking Scream. There's a reason why it's so popular. There's a reason why there's another sequel this year. Yeah, I mean
yeah.
it's Scream. Change the game, as you said. So yeah,
I'm doubtful that seven will ever happen at this point.
yeah, that'll be interesting.
There's a lot of things going against it.
There is.
I'm
All right.
talking about uh, busy schedules.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All these
All
people,
right,
all
let's
these
get to the
actors.
number ones.
Okay.
See, James Moran's right there with us. Scream. It gave horror a spark. It did. Like horror was straight to video at this point, and then Scream comes along, and man, all of a sudden they're like, "Well, dollar signs." Paxton Scoggins, Scream 2. See, a lot of people like Scream 2 better than the original,
Mm-hmm.
more than you would think. The Relic,
The Relic,
Penelope
nice.
Ann Miller and Tom Sizemore. Yeah, that's a
Sizemore just died too recently, right?
yeah, he did. Scott, you always have like your
I know.
lists always
I know.
surprise.
I know.
And
I love it.
you're unique. I love it. Alley Girl Scream, obviously, right? And then review it, Rob. Big, you said he was a big
Oh yeah,
Child's Play.
yeah. He's a huge Chucky guy.
Child's Play too. So yeah.
Yeah. I want to. Can I mention? Can I mention some of? I have like a handful here that we're on that we
Yeah,
haven't
let's hear it.
mentioned that are that I wanted to put on the list. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll just mention them here. I'm only going to mention ones that haven't been mentioned. Arachnophobia. I wanted to have on there because I fucking love that movie,
You know what? I honestly thought that would be on your list.
dude. The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. It's like a horror comedy.
I thought that would be on your list as well.
Another one. This I see. When I was looking shit up, I saw like Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea is not a horror movie, I don't think. Jaws is, but Deep Blue Sea I wouldn't consider a horror movie.
I would consider it a slasher film.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. Event Horizon, I wanted to put that on the list. That's a crazy ass movie.
Jake Blaster got his number one in, and of course,
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the
Yep.
Lambs. Good.
Yep. Can't argue with that. So yeah, those are a few of the ones that I wanted to put on, but I just couldn't find the room.
Yeah, someone mentioned Copycat. That was one I really wanted to put on. Another. It has Holly Hunter, Sigourney Weaver. Uh, another slasher type deal, but yeah. Like I had to pick that or Psycho, and I picked Psycho.
Yeah, that
Whatever.
surprised me. Your Psycho surprised me, but you make good points. You made some good points. So
Yeah. Uh, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. A lot of people like that. I don't know. You probably haven't seen that, Nick. Have you?
I have not.
You remember the show Tales from the Crypt on HBO back in
Oh,
the 90s?
oh yeah.
Crypt Keeper.
Oh
It
yeah.
was kind of like yeah. Well, they did a movie.
Okay.
And yeah, it has Billy Zane in it. It was very highly rated, for sure. Bud's back has to hurt from carrying the show. No, it's fine. Tremors.
Tremors.
Blake-
I love Tremors. I love that movie so much.
I think Blake just loves Reba McEntire. I think that's all that is.
Speaking of
Honorable
Bud,
mentions.
Bud Blaster mentioned you. I'm throwing your a link to your channel in the chat right now. So I know most people
Oh.
in here are Subscribe to Bud's channel. If you're not, make sure you follow the link I just posted in the chat. Go sub to Bud's channel because
Are you talking about that channel that's on life support right now?
it's on life support. What are you talking
Oh man,
about?
I'm seeing some good
Wolf. Jack
honorable
Nicholson.
mentions.
Yeah.
Cape Fear. That's
Cape
another
Fear.
good one.
Yeah.
More psychological thriller. That was the early.
Yeah, I
part of
love the Addams
decade.
Family movies. The Addams Family movies are a lot of nostalgia for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Halloween 6 after the franchise also went straight to home video. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Jack Nicholson, Wolf. Yeah.
I remember that.
Wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer in that as well?
I don't recall, but it.
Blasters unsubscribing. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
God, I got a sub, man. Look at you.
Hey, it worked.
Teaching Mrs. Tingle and the faculty for Allie, honorable mention. I'm trying to think of any honorable mentions. I don't know.
Yeah, the others I
Nobody
had
liked
already
Alien
mentioned.
3? Nobody liked Alien 3?
No, I fucking can't stand that movie.
Did you know the same guy that directed that?
Directed Seven. That was David Fincher's first movie. I wish Manhunter would come back, man, but it's not going to. You ever see that show? David Fincher?
Manhunter. Oh God, yeah, loved it.
Only 2 seasons, but
I don't understand. I don't understand why people didn't watch that. I don't get it at all.
I know. It's good. Paxton Scroggins, the Haunting, Leprechaun, Jack Frost.
I read recently they're reinventing Leprechaun.
Yes, they are.
We're gonna get Wee Man, I guess, to play him. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm making that up. Jack Frost, The Crow. The Crow and Swan. I don't know if I consider those horror movies. What do you think of that?
I actually am not a fan of The Crow.
I mean, he does come back from the dead.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of The Crow, and it's not that. It's not that I don't think it's a good movie. It's just a movie that's not for me. It doesn't really speak to me. I just never really got into it, you know. But obviously terrible tragedy what happened to Bruce Lee's kid, Brandon Lee. But yeah, it was, you know, pre Alec Baldwin. But yeah. So yeah, that is
Stephen King's
Thinner, dude. I love, dude. You know what? I love like finding some of those obscure Stephen King movies.
Gina Lemke, right? What was her name? That chick.
Oh,
I know Blaster has a huge crush on her, man.
Oh,
what was her name?
I know who you're talking about.
Carrie. God damn, she was hot.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. All right, so Bud, you're going on vacation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get H2O squeezed in before then. So, yeah, my channel will be on hiatus till I get back from Jamaica. So
it's good. Life comes first.
I don't know. I may throw a 5-minute special up. We'll see.
Yeah. Just make sure you pack. Make sure you pack. You can go live while packing.
Well, that's my wife's job. I just wake up and I go.
That's smart man.
I'm kidding. Of course I will pack.
Yeah. So we'll be back in a couple weeks then once Bud's tan. So yeah. Thanks for everyone for showing up.
Idle Hands.
Oh yeah, I love Idle Hands.
From dusk till dawn, end of days, they're all rolling in.
Yeah, I just reviewed Idle Hands, and I'm gonna be reviewing From Dusk Till Dawn as a request from Alley Girl in the next week or so.
Didn't you tell me you hadn't seen that?
Yeah, I just watched it.
Okay, I'll look forward to that.
Yeah.
I want to know what you thought.
Yeah,
I'll wait to watch it.
Yeah, I do have some thoughts. Obviously, Quentin Tarantino acting and, you know, things like that.
You notice he always puts himself in the best role in his movies, right?
Yeah. And I'll have a different perspective than most people because I'm not really a Tarantino guy.
Yeah, it's another one of your horrifying quirks of... Yeah.
I know.
That just defy all reality.
I know. But we'll be back in a couple weeks. Don't know the topic yet. Might be a top 10 list. Might not be. It could be the tales of Bud's horrific vacation. You know, when, you know, his wife goes to sleep and he takes a walk and something scary happens. Who knows? So, Anything else you want to add, bud?
No. If you haven't watched the Halloween retrospectives, they're all on my channel, starting with Halloween 2. I think they're pretty informative.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun to
Uh,
watch. And you got some good
so
screenshots, obviously.
yeah, I've been working on H2O. I've got about half of that locked in, but I'll do that as soon as I get back.
Yeah, and see a couple more people showing up. If you guys could, if
Oh
you get a
yeah,
chance, go sub to Bud's channel. I put a link up in the chat, and I'm just gonna. Jason says Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween franchises were not great in the 90s. Boy, we
yeah,
absolutely agree with you
definitely.
there. They're fucking god
Yeah,
awful.
the
So
shit was dead. It was dying,
yeah.
and then Scream changed the game.
Yep.
Yeah, Michael
So
Joe, welcome.
hey, Michael.
Man, everybody's coming in late.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, on that note, guys, we're out. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys in a couple weeks. Talk to you later.
Have a good